Boom. Guess what? I picked up one. Hey guys, it's Mark. We're going to be going over the Olight S Mini raw copper. Alright, so quick little backstory about this one. I had the original Olight S10R and I love that light. So when they announced the S1, I had to pick this one up. Of course, it was more lumens, it was smaller, had a different style reflector. I thought it was great. It's been great as long as I've owned it. I've loved it. And shortly after I bought this one pre-order, and shortly after I bought this one, they announced special versions of this one, the copper, the titanium, and all that. And I thought, well, if I ever give this one away, I'll just get the copper one or the brass one. They were limited edition models. So when the time came to actually buy one, they were sold out. Couldn't find them on Amazon, couldn't find them on eBay, scoured Instagram, looking for gear sales. Still haven't found one. I got an email announcing these S Mini versions, and again it said they were limited edition, and I thought, I'm pre-ordering. No thought process, I just clicked order. Came in the mail today. So this is how it comes packaged. It's in a cellophane wrapper. You got some little information about Olight, the company. Raw copper, of course. Alright, let's rip this one open. In Olight fashion, their limited edition ones usually come in a pretty nice box, and I don't know if this is showing up on the camera, but this feels like it's printed on and not a part of the box. This is flat, but this is raised to the touch. Pretty nice. Alright. There it is. Pretty cool. So it says, read this before use. I tend to not do that and just go right into using stuff. Alright, so that's not removable. It's stuck to the inside lid. The stuff inside is removable. Alright, so that's in there. User's manual. S Mini titanium and copper. And they say, so there's 6 colors. There's the raw copper, there's the black version, which is copper, but it's black coated, and then there are the titanium versions. There's a regular titanium, a shiny titanium, like a rainbow colored titanium, and then the rose goldish copper feature one. I went with the raw because I've already got a black light, almost same model, a little bit different. And actually this one's already spoken for. I'll be giving this one away as a gift to a buddy of mine. So user's manual. Oh, I'm having ADD today. So it says for each one, I don't know if you can see that, but down here at the bottom there are only 9,999 pieces for each color of this. So for all 6, there's almost 10,000 pieces for each color. User's manual, quick overview. So it's rated at 110 meters. Max output is 550, which is just a little bit better over this one, which was 500. So let's see, max output is 550 for about 90 seconds, and then it'll automatically drop down to 300 lumens, which is fine because I can't imagine 550 out of the front and this thing heating up. This one heats up pretty well, and this is aluminum, so the copper, I'm sure, would you would be able to feel the heat a little bit faster. So we've got Impact resistant, 1.5 meters. It's IPX8, which I don't scuba dive with my lights. That's fine. Alright, so at 300 lumens, it'll run for 120 minutes. The medium at 60 lumens for 8.5 hours. You've got a low light of 12 lumen at 64 hours. And then the moonlight, which is half a lumen, it says it'll run for 30 days. I went ahead and cracked this open in the packaging, and it came inside this little plastic wrapper. So we had it in the box like this. It was in the plastic wrapper. There's a nice little cutout, but Olight always ships their special coated or raw metal lights in these sealed packaging so that they don't tarnish in the boxes. So here we are. So we've got the S1 Mini, 10% shorter, 10% brighter than the S1, which I've loved and carried. So as you can see immediately, there's a big difference. So let's run these two right up against each other. So they shorten the bezel, they shorten this area here, and by eliminating this part where the clip fits, and they put it on the actual button ring itself, they were able to shorten it there. The tail cap they shortened, I'm assuming that's because they took the magnet out. This one is not a magnet the same way the S1 is. There's just not a magnet in the bottom. It doesn't stick to anything. But that's fine. Even though I really like the feature of having the magnet here, I found myself either holding the light like this or sticking it on my hat or something like that. So not a huge deal, not a deal breaker, but it was a nice feature to have. Two things instantly I notice. If you're used to carrying the S1 or the S10, for me it was the same. When I went from the S10 to the S1, I noticed the difference in my hand immediately of the length. Same thing with this one. As soon as I pick it up, so 10% doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're used to carrying one of these lights, the original ones, and then you handle the Mini, it is so much smaller. It disappears. I have smaller sized hands, and it just disappears. So that's number one. Number two is the heft. So it is copper, and I knew that going into it because I have other copper lights. So things like this. So this is hefty. This is heavier than its counterpart. This one's hefty. But if you're comparing lights to lights, which is kind of hard to do, I love this light. And I love this light. I think I'm going to like this one better. So for what it's worth, I really like this one just because of the heft. This was a huge deal when I picked up this light. I really like it, and it's patinaed very nicely. You can kind of see it just a little bit there. Maybe not. Tag CR123. Couple of things to note. So while I love these two smaller lights, the reflector on this Martac is one that is not to be rivaled. This one, the Martac, has a lot of throw. I love it. This one is just small. Alright, so let's go ahead and take it apart. Alright, another thing I instantly notice is something that Olight always gets correct, that a lot of other companies miss on, are the threads. I can't stress enough how good a smooth thread is. I don't know if that's everyone or if that's just me, but having smooth threads, that was one thing I noticed on this one. So the smooth threads, I don't know if it's because of the coating or if it's the company, but same thing with this one. So the smooth threads are a huge deal. So it comes shipped with an Olight CR123, and this one is not rechargeable. So as you can clearly see, this is just a regular CR123. Do not recharge. Okay, so let's take a look at the cap. Inside the cap, you can clearly see no magnet in the bottom. Threads are thick and beefy. There's a little ring protector around there for the battery. Same thing with the tail cap. So you've got a little grease that it comes shipped with, your O-ring, beefy threads, and then on the inside you've got a little polarity telling you which way your battery goes in. So you can't unscrew the bezel or anything like that. Everything's done through the bottom, I assume. And the tail, the pocket clip is non-reversible. It's only one way. So I don't know if it's just the material because it's copper and it is softer, or if they actually changed the knurling, but the knurling feels a little more subdued on this one over the S1. This one's a little more aggressive. And even then, I'm saying aggressive only because it's more textured, but it's not really aggressive. It's not anything like the knurling on this MI7, which I'll be doing a long-term video about that one. Okay, so what we've got are, in the newer mode, in the newer lights, you've got where the light fades on and fades off. A feature I kind of like, because with this one, it's on and on, which is fine. It's what we're all used to with a lot of other lights. It's just a nice feature to have in something like this. Fade on, fade off. And then, so we've got our low lumen mode, that's half a lumen here, which is the low mode, the medium mode, and then our high at 550 for roughly about 90 seconds, and then it'll drop down to 300, which for me is fine because 300 out of this one, that's plenty bright. And especially, so I'm not going to be, this isn't going to go all the way down the alley, or I'm not trying to look across a football field. For something like this, oh wow, that heated up really quick. So for something like this, it'll be for close quarters use, digging in a drawer, maybe, you know, if I'm going to be doing any other real flashlight needs, I'll either have something like this, or my Surefire, or even something like my EA11, which, while it's still a pocket light, it's kind of in a different category, as you can clearly see. But as far as, say you're going out at night and you're going out with your friends and you know it's going to be nighttime, but you want something that's got a little more power than these two, yeah, I'm definitely going to grab this, for sure. These are what I take with me during the day, because chances are that I'll need super bright lights during the daytime. Not going to happen. More power, yeah, I'm grabbing this one. So 550 or 700 lumens, I mean, just look at the print inside your pocket. I'm going to grab this one. Sorry, MI7, I love you, but I'm going to go with the shorter light. Again, and if you need more light, obviously this is not it. You would want something like, you know, your combat light, or something that's got a bigger footprint. What else? The new pocket clip, so it's a little bit different design. You can clearly see that. It seems a little soft. Not that it wouldn't stay on your pocket, it's just not as rigid as this one. So this one, I don't know how well you can see. It's pretty stout. This one, on the other hand, not that it isn't, it's just, it's a little more flexible. I'll have to do an update and long-term use update and let you guys know how I like that. Okay, so let's take this outside. We'll do the normal light show, and you guys can see how that shows up, how much flood it's got, and whatever. So, I hope that was useful. Thanks for watching. You can barely see anything. I'm going to step it up. Alright, here's the low mode. That wall there's a 10 feet. Decent amount of flood. Medium. Again, the wall at 10 feet. Neighbor's fence at roughly 15. Alright, and then we're going to bump it up to high. 550 with an extreme amount of flood. Alright, so it does very well. At 550, let's hurt that wall down there is roughly 50 yards. And you can see the way this thing floods the area. It's fantastic. Alright. And we'll get a look at the trees, neighbor's trees. These are at about 20 feet here. Extremely floody, extremely bright. It's great. But it does heat up. This is hot.